How's it going, guys? Will here. As some of you may know, I still use the iPhone X as my personal phone. In fact, this has been one of the longest periods I've ever kept one device for. So today I wanted to share with you 5 reasons as to why you may want to consider the iPhone X in 2020. Before we get into it, I do want to just say a quick thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. It's sponsors like this that keep the channel running, and we're going to be talking a bit more about what Surfshark is in a little bit. So the first thing that I really like about the iPhone X would have to be the screen. Honestly, I absolutely love the screen on this thing. Everything from the 18:9 aspect ratio, which is definitely one of my favorite aspect ratios, to the high resolution of 2436 by 1125, meaning a really nice high PPI of 458. I also really love the size because my hands are on the smaller side, so holding a larger phone with one hand may be a bit of a challenge. Yet because of the design of the iPhone X, I still get a nice large screen thanks to the almost bezel-less display, with the obvious exception of the notch. This was a pretty big deal for a lot of people at launch, but seeing as so many in the smartphone market now follow this design, it's not really an issue anymore, and it allows for the 5.8-inch screen, so personally, I have no problem with it. Another thing that I absolutely love about this screen would have to be the fact that it uses an OLED panel. In essence, this means more contrast, better viewing angles, and deeper blacks without skewing the image. It also means that because of the way that it functions by shutting off pixels, dark mode will effectively save battery, which is nice. Overall, in my opinion, the screen is one of the most important parts of any phone, and in this aspect, I think the iPhone X does really well. Leading on from this, we have one of my now favorite features on the iPhone side of things: the 3D touch. If you don't know what this is, in essence, it's very similar to the way that the new MacBook trackpads function, so different levels of force allow you to perform different tasks. As I've said before, I was quick to write this off as a gimmick, and oh man, I regretted it. I now use 3D touch for everything from having quick access to the scrub bar when listening to music, to scrolling through text with the keyboard. Honestly, it's probably one of the most used features on my phone. On the iPhone XR, 11, and 11 Pro, this was replaced with haptic touch, which actually operates based on length rather than pressure, which in turn leads to a slower action, and while this isn't a massive deal, having the option to perform actions based on force rather than press duration is a really cool technology in my opinion. On the iPhone X, it works as well as ever with a really nice tactile click, and if you want an iPhone with this feature, then the 10 might be a good option. After this, we got the camera, another feature I personally love, and again, something I think the iPhone X does really well with. As some of you may know, I've pretty much entirely switched my casual photography to my iPhone. It's just a really fun, intuitive experience, and when I use my phone camera, it's like it's a hobby again. It's not like when I'm using this big camera and it's like another job. I can genuinely have a lot of fun with photography using my phone camera. Now, because of this, I don't particularly care if my photos end up sucking, but the iPhone X camera actually has an impressive set of specs. It does feature that dual camera system that we all love by now, with one wide-angle focal point equivalent to 28mm on a traditional 35mm sensor, and one telephoto, which is actually equivalent to 56mm. Again, this is all in reference to a traditional 35mm sensor. I personally love these two focal lengths. I've actually used a 28mm lens before for shooting B-roll, and it's a really nice wide focal length, great for shooting landscapes. I find the telephoto being perfect for street photography, architecture, and taking photos of people, and this is actually one of the main reasons as to why I personally prefer the iPhone X over the iPhone 11. I personally prefer this tele lens over the iPhone 11's ultra wide angle. For some, the wide angle may be more useful, especially for landscape photographers, but for the things I like to take photos of, the telephoto lens works great. Colors look great out of the box, and if you set your phone up right, I did a video on how to do that, up there, then you do actually have a nice amount of leverage when working with these images in post, which of course can just make your images like 100 times better. And it's not just photos I've found the iPhone X's camera does well in. I've also found that the iPhone X does really well in video. It shoots 4K at up to 60 FPS and 240 FPS slow motion in 1080p. The iPhone X also has high enough bitrates where third-party apps aren't needed for editing video and can actually stand up to some color grading. Overall, in terms of the camera, I'm very pleased with the iPhone X. If you want a phone that's also a point-and-shoot replacement, then the iPhone X may be worth taking into consideration. Moving on, I think it'd be unfair to make a video like this without talking about the gorgeous design. The iPhone X features this always stunning glass and steel build that feels pretty heavy in the hand at 174 grams, and personally, I think this takes the premium to a whole nother level. Because it features a glass back, this also means that wireless charging is possible with this iPhone, and the breakability is increased by a lot. I don't care what Apple says. Glass is not as strong as aluminium, so despite how gorgeous it looks, I would still recommend a case. Finally, and one of my favorite things about the iPhone X, the price. Currently on the used market, I've seen this thing go for as low as $300, which is kinda crazy considering this thing launched at $1,000. I would honestly argue the iPhone X is perhaps one of, if not the best value iPhone on the market right now. Now, the drawback here is that you're most likely gonna have to buy used, but I don't personally mind that the environmental factors and the money saved all justify buying used phones for me, and in that regard, the iPhone X certainly delivers. Speaking of value, I want to give a huge thank you to perhaps the best value VPN on the market right right now. Today's sponsor, Surfshark. Now, one of the reasons why I agreed to this sponsorship is because of the value. As it stands right now, Surfshark's 2-year plan comes in at $47.76, which actually works out to less than $2 per month. If you don't want to get the 2-year plan, there are other options, but the 2-year plan, in my opinion, is definitely the best value. Now, there are many benefits to having a VPN in this day and age. For example, say you're on holiday in lovely sunny Portugal, but you're usually in the UK and an important football game's on. Well, with Surfshark, you can watch it. Surfshark also features AES 256 GCM level encryption, which basically means it would take a very many years to brute force it. Multi-hop, which essentially allows you to connect to 2 different servers at the same time. For example, instead of directly connecting to a server in the US, you can connect to that US server through a Canadian server. And of course, 24-hour expert support. Surfshark is available on pretty much every device out there, including, but not limited to, Windows, macOS, iOS, and Android. If you do want to check Surfshark out, then there will be a link in the description where you can get 83% off as well as an extra month for free. As I said before, it's sponsors like Surfshark that help me keep running this channel. So once again, thank you to them, and I hope you guys can get some good use out of it. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. Remember to like the video. If you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.